We'll start with an opening statement from Coach Rocco, then open it up for questions.
Okay, once again, thanks everybody for being here today. We find ourselves in a pretty good spot, having won 2 in a row. Have built a little bit of momentum here for our season, which I'm very excited about. Real pleased with how we responded Saturday on the road at VMI. I think VMI is a very, very well-respected program, institution. Their kids play real hard. They're very well coached. And I thought our guys competed real hard and really took control of the game in the second half. 28 unanswered points in the third quarter, 31 unanswered points in the second half. Kind of spelled out the conclusion of that one. I thought we were really dominant. I think our athleticism took over there in the second half. I think physically we wore them down there late in the game. So in hindsight, though we would have liked to have gone up 28-0 in the first quarter, it didn't happen that way. In hindsight, I think our football team's a little better off for having had to be in the locker room at halftime again in a tough environment in a close game, and then having to come out and respond, and we responded in a very big way. Looking ahead here to Georgia State, we're really excited about having the opportunity to go down and get into conference play. Playing at Georgia Dome is certainly something that we're excited about, and having an opportunity to compete for a conference win is paramount right now here for us. It's very important that we find a way to win this football game so we can return 1-0 in conference play. At this time, I'll take any questions here from the media.
Hey, Danny, your predecessors in the last 7 or 8 years have done a great job recruiting the Atlanta area, Georgia. Is that something you want to continue to do? And is this part of the value of going down there is getting Richmond's name in that neighborhood?
Well, I think that's a great point. It's certainly an area that we're into heavily. There's a lot of really good schools down there, a lot of talent down there, a lot of really good academic institutions down there. So there are some commonalities, I think. Obviously, flying from Atlanta to Richmond's easy to do. This is definitely an area that has a population that we'll continue to explore and to recruit. And this past spring, we were pretty active down there. So I think the short answer there is yes. But, having said that, Georgia State won't be in our conference any longer. So sometimes that's another element of the logic behind going into an area like that. Those families know that Richmond will be down there every other year to play a game, and there's a little more media attention to the CAA whenever that school is in the conference. But it's certainly an area that we'll continue to have an interest in.
How have these 2 wins helped boost morale around the program?
Well, I think it's been pretty substantial. We had been starving for a victory, so from that aspect, I think, the win here at home, kind of monkey off the back type of feeling. A lot of joy and celebration went into that. Like I said, what we did here last week, I was real pleased with going on the road and, pulling away in a game that was a pretty hard-fought game for 30 minutes. I think there's a lot of confidence in that experience. I said this to the team, I believe, yesterday, and I'm 100% convinced of it. We took a giant step forward last week. Our team got better. Kind of happened right in front of our eyes there in the second half. Guys stepped up. Guys made plays. We got Remy Henshaw with us here today. He had a great performance on the road. Cooper Taylor's here with us today. Coop had a phenomenal game. Lob was very sharp. Kendall was physical. Jovan ran real well. Ben Edwards had a great day. and we run back the opening kickoff for touchdowns. So, I mean, there's some really good things that happened out there Saturday, and I think that helps boost our confidence. It's not just winning the game, but it's winning it in a fashion that did show an element of domination.
With how competitive the conference is year in and year out, and typically with how many teams that get into the playoffs, how important is a conference win, especially on the road? If you can protect your home turf, but a road win is even that much more.
Yeah, it's significant. We look at these schedules so hard as coaches and fans and alumni. You study the schedule. Now, the one thing that I don't do that most of you do is you look at the schedule and you decide who we're going to win and who we're going to lose to before we start the season. I certainly don't do that. But I do look for the home and away setup. I look for the travel, some of the natural breaks that might fall in the season and in the schedule. And I do look for level of difficulty games at home and on the road. Common logic would say here that we're playing a team that hasn't won a lot of games. And if we're going to get a road game in conference play, this would be the one everyone's got highlighted on their season schedule card on their refrigerator. So I think it's really important that we go down there and take care of business and leave there 1-0 in conference play with a road victory. Continue to build some confidence here as we get back home the following week. And to do that, there's a lot that goes into it. But we better have a sense of urgency, and we better have the mindset that we're playing a very, very dangerous football team. That is a fact. This is a football team that has their back against the wall. They're scary in that they're talented. They haven't really gotten any breaks, and they've been waiting for a long time to get a CAA win. Since they were invited into this conference, they were waiting for an opportunity to play a conference game. Well, here it is on their schedule. Oh, they were 0-8 last year. All right, so what game do you think they have highlighted on their schedule card? Did they say, well, this is the game that we got to win? So it's tricky. It's dangerous. My players need to be aware of this and tuned into it just like I am, because we got to go down there with an edge and a real focus. I believe we will. I mean, we had it last week, and we need to have that even more so here this week.
Coach, have you talked to anybody about playing indoors, Wilder or anybody like that?
Yeah, well, I've done it a number of times, as a coach. Talked to some Virginia people about their experience a year ago down there in the Chick-fil-A Bowl. Talked to my nephew Michael about his experience down there. I have adjusted our schedule in that we will spend significantly more time on Friday working out than we usually do. Basically to throw and catch, kick, and field punts and kickoffs. So we're going to make sure, instead of just doing our normal walkthrough, that we do go through part of what I would call our pre-practice warm-up and individual that we usually don't do on a Friday. So our quarterbacks would be taking snaps and handing the ball off, or be in the gun and handing the ball off. Then we'll break up into groups and we'll throw and catch. We'll run routes versus air. The secondary will do some pass skeleton drops, break on the ball, vision the ball, depth perception. And then at the end, we'll keep our specialists out there. No wind and no rain and a pretty consistent temperature. So, these are things my kids will tell you that every Friday night when I speak to the team, I always tell them what the temperature is going to be the next day, the wind and the wind direction, and the actual, expected, weather for that next day. And, this will be a constant here playing in the Dome.
Any plans to rendezvous with Lawrence Sidbury, either address the team or say hello?
No, it's been mentioned. No contact has been made. It's my understanding that we're actually going to be in the Falcons locker room down there this week. And I've had some people, make mention of that, and we'll probably move in that direction here this week.
Coach, can you go back and talk about the process in which Hinshaw won the starting kicking job and what he brings both physically and mentally to the position?
Well, it was really interesting. I think the first thing that was apparent that it was a competition. Will Kamen had done a lot here in the past, and he still was very valuable in his role kicking off, and he's also having a very good year doing that. They went back and forth really, through the summer, just like, the Lob and Strauss did, and Coach Legg, our special teams coordinator, was, charting every day, percentages, distances, operation times. And there just seemed to be a little more element of consistency overall when you looked at it from a broader perspective. And then, the day that we put the most value on, Remy had one of his better days. So as we were getting closer and closer to camp or to the start of the season, and we kind of targeted a couple of practices that we thought were going to be very important in terms of us making this decision, he had some of his better days there. So, it's like so many other things. Confidence is really a big part of kicking. He's got the skills, got the talent set, that you have to have. His confidence is real good right now. And, I'm not like making this statement to debate the referee or but the other kick was a very good kick. The kick that was signaled no good was right over top of the upright. And that thing gets called good just as often as it gets called no good. And when you watch it on our end zone camera, it looks like the kick's good. It's funny, you watch the film, everybody on our team's going like this, everybody on Red's going like this, So, it was truly right on that line. And so he really kicked the ball really good on Saturday.
They apparently had issues with deciding whether balls went through the uprights, because that extra point that VMI had was also clearly good.
That is not all that uncommon. We had a situation a few years back where I was at Virginia. Coach Groh actually used a challenge on an extra point, and he was right. And they went back and reviewed it. I've got a little philosophy on that. I'll keep it to myself, but I do have an opinion as to why it's more challenging than I think it needs to be in terms of officiating that play, good or no good.